Okay, guys, we're back. This is podcast numero 3 or 4, I believe. But yeah, it has been great so far. I don't think I've missed an upload, but today I might, just because I don't even know if I'm going to be allowed to post this podcast or not. But I'm here with a very special guest. If you guys know her, you know her. If you guys don't, you probably should. This is Vanessa BATULE. Vanessa BATULE, can you please say hi?
Hi.
I always like to start off these podcasts with kind of talking about the student-athlete aspect of our special guest. So I kind of want to ask you the first question, which is, what is your favorite? You play softball, correct?
I do, yeah.
And you're on the varsity team, right?
We only have one team. So
No,
yeah.
just that's what you don't get to tell them that. You can just
I'm on the varsity team.
you're on the varsity team. I want you to kind of tell me, like, what is your favorite position in softball, and why do you like playing softball so much?
I think my favorite position would be pitcher. I just started starting pitching this year, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoy playing it just because of my teammates and the bonds that we make, and being able to support a team and all that stuff. So yeah.
Nice. What do you think was one of your best memories during the softball?
I think for sure one of the games I got to start, and just hearing my teammates cheer me on and being there for me, even if I wasn't necessarily pitching strikes, just feeling the love throughout the whole game.
And the positivity, yeah, for sure. I feel like when you're playing a sport and you have like a group of friends or just even teammates that are helping you out, it gives you that extra adrenaline and that extra motivation to put in that extra strength, for sure. Yeah. What do you think the hardest thing about softball is? I know a lot of people don't know a whole ton about softball. We know baseball, basketball. I'm not trying to say anything going hard on softball or anything, but what is one thing that not many people know that's kind of difficult to do in softball?
I think the whole our whole season, our coaches really implemented team effort. Everyone was supposed to give 100% effort throughout the whole entire game. And I think it was hard, especially for players that didn't play too much, for after the game we would have to do sprints if we didn't do very well. So I think if being a player that doesn't play very often, I think it's hard to put in that work that you didn't even play during the game or make any mistakes, but you still had to suffer the consequences of the players who did do bad. But that also just tied in with being a team and doing it for your
together
team.
With your team. No, yeah, that's crazy. So you think the biggest thing about softball is just working together is how you guys gonna get that win? I think that's the same with a lot of many sports, but especially for softball, since it's all one person starts to play and then has to work with everyone else to finish the play. Yeah, that's super interesting. So you've been at Maranatha for a while now, right? How long have you been going there for? What was the first year that you went to
I
Maranatha?
started going there in third grade, so I think going on 8 years.
8
now.
years, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So all through middle school, you survived Maranatha Middle School.
I did, yeah.
And you're hopping almost halfway. You're halfway done through Maranatha High School.
I am.
And you got this upcoming year. I wanted to ask you, what is something that you wish you knew coming into high school that you didn't know before, but it's just a good little thing to tell any new 8th graders hopping in next year, and just something that was damn, I wish I knew that when I was in high school.
I think that it doesn't matter as much as you think it does.
Yeah.
Just being an 8th grader, you kind of are thrown into this new world of older kids and just all the things that come with high school, and you're so focused on what people will think and keeping your grades up and stuff like that, and that is all important, but I think high school is also a really big mental experience. Yeah, mental transition or experience for you.
Yeah.
You're kind of growing into the person that you're going to be forever, and so kind of just remembering not to always worry about what people think, and just focusing on yourself and making sure that you're okay and not necessarily putting all of your worry in things that won't necessarily matter in a few years.
Okay, I like that. What do you think one of the biggest distractions is during high school? Whether that be instead of doing homework, going out with friends, or spending a ton of money. It's just what is one distraction that you found hopping to high school that you didn't have in middle school that really screwed with an everyday schedule that you wanted to have?
I think being able to drive, for sure, deters you from like actually being at home and like just
or like
studying.
having friends that can drive.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. By the way, Vanessa does not have her driver's license or
have my permit.
her driver's permit. She has the yellow sheet that you get from the online, but that's pretty much it. But we're hoping that this summer, maybe before the wedding, she might get something done.
See.
All right, continue.
But yeah, so just like having people that can drive you around places, like, or like having the what's the word?
Freedom.
I guess the freedom, or like, yeah, the freedom to just like leave whenever you want, and kind of, I guess everyone can lie to the parents about having finished homework, you know, like, going out to eat after games when you should have gone home to study for that test you have the next day, just like that, those small things that you don't really think about. So yeah, I think just like time management is like for sure like a really big thing in high school that you need to have.
Huge in high school for sure.
That you don't necessarily need to have in junior high because your parents are there to
help you out. And it's not like those types of things aren't as accessible. Like being able to go after meals after a game and stuff like that. It's usually with your parents, and then they take you home right after, or your parents know like what your homework's at.
Yeah, exactly.
In high school, it gets more independent, and that's pretty much it. You've traveled. You went on the Europe trip. Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Last year?
Arts and culture trip.
And culture trip, whatever they have to use to make it school supported. You went on with Mickey, and I talked to Mickey about it. Can I have like your experience from it, and like what I want to know is like what is the most beautiful thing that you saw there, or one of the most? I'm sure there's a trillion. Just like one thing that was like wow, like you cannot see this anywhere else, but like Europe. Wait, I'm not done.
Okay, sorry.
And then the other thing is, what is one thing that you experienced in Paris that you probably wouldn't have experienced, or in Europe that you probably didn't experience anywhere else?
I think the most beautiful thing I saw was probably Venice. Just like seeing the boats on the water, and like just like the couples that would go there, and like you going there, like not only was I experiencing it, like the people around me experiencing it, but like there were so many families there, and like so many just like young couples there, like experiencing like the beauty of just Italy and stuff like that. And like I think I'm forever grateful to be able to have gone on that trip. And what was the second question?
The other one was, what is an experience that you had there that you probably wouldn't have had if you didn't go on that trip?
For sure, the like culture, like just like hearing like conversations and like Italian, and like when we went there, we all had to learn just like, you know, like tiny like please and thank you, like hi and bye and stuff like that. And like when we came back, it was almost habit to like keep saying those things. And,
and it started became like jokes and stuff.
So I think just like the friendships that I made on that trip, you know, I met I guess I got closer to one of my bestest friends now. And so it was just like, like being in a different country just like really opens your eyes to like how many more like cool things are out there in the world. Cause like we're always here in San Diego, and like obviously it's beautiful, but like you never really realize like how pretty it is outside of our
For sure. And so this upcoming year, which I don't know when I think it's November is when the trip is. You're going where?
Germany.
Yeah. And first off, what's like you don't have to go into specifics, but like general areas that you're going to. And then if you don't know? Okay.
Really
so we'll just say Germany.
Yeah.
She's going to Germany, guys.
I think we're going to like Sweden or something. I'm not sure.
Sweden to Germany?
I don't
wish.
Know.
Okay. Anyways, what is one thing that you're gonna do differently in Germany that you wish you did in Europe?
Okay, well,
if there is anything.
Well, going into the Italy trip, I was really nervous because I didn't have many friends going. I actually had no one necessarily in my grade going. So I was really stepping out by going like all the way across the country or to another country with a bunch of people that I barely knew. But I also, the first night or like one of the first nights, it was horrible for me. We were walking like till 1 a.m., like blisters, like it was rough. And, you know, it at night, there's not much you can see. Like it was just, you know, like a bunch of buildings that, you know, no one really cared about, especially at 1 a.m. after a long day of walking and like sightseeing and stuff. So I complained that night, and like because I complained, I actually learned this later after the trip, but because I complained, they made us walk like 3 more miles than we would have. So I think going into the Germany trip, I'm not gonna complain or
No way.
Yeah.
They made you walk 3 more miles because Vanessa
we went to
see
the same museum like 8 times. We made a joke out of it, so I guess the situation turned out to be good. But I was a mess that night, and like they could tell that I was irritated, and the chaperones just didn't put up with it. They're like, okay, then we're gonna keep walking, and so they did. It was horrible, but overall it was a great experience. And so I think going into this Germany trip, I'm for sure gonna just suck it up and enjoy every second of it.
Let the experience go however it goes. I like that for sure. Do you have any plans to travel anywhere else pretty soon? And if it's not plans, where is somewhere that you want to travel like the most?
Well, my parents are getting married this summer, and for their honeymoon, they wanted to take all of us because I have other siblings, so they didn't want to just go on their own honeymoon by themselves because we have a younger sibling, so it'd be hard to like leave him home. And we're thinking of going back to Europe actually, and just I don't know, either that or something tropical. I don't know, maybe the Bahamas or something.
Yeah, something sick.
Yeah, we want to do something cool with the whole family, so
cool.
Maybe that this summer, but we're not sure yet.
When you say whole family, is that like if they have a B in the name, like they're going, or is it like selective wedding family?
I'm not really sure. It might just be like me and my like siblings and then my parents.
Your parents.
But it also, every time we go on a trip, it's like 15 or over, so it might be like grandma, uncles, aunts, all
cousins,
that stuff. But
coming,
I'm not too sure yet.
Gotcha. That's interesting for sure. Going back, we're gonna travel back to San Diego and kind of talk about hanging out here and just like overall like anything that you do outside of school and outside of your regular life. That's like normally just like hanging out with friends and stuff like that. I want you to kind of talk about a time where you were hanging out with friends and like at the beginning of it, you're like, yo, this is burnt. Like I do not want to be here. But like at the end of it, you're like, wow, like this is actually like a cool time, and like you genuinely enjoyed that.
I'm trying to think. Recently, I've only really had good experiences with my friends, which is thank God for that. But I don't. Maybe like certain situations where like someone comes up with a last minute plan that doesn't really seem well thought out, like but you end up going and it's just, it sounds cliche, but it's just the best time, and you regret even thinking of not going. And like it's just, I think I can't really think of any specifics, but I'd for sure say like always go into something with an open mind and just like open for any opportunity that comes your way. And like I don't know, I've for sure been more lenient with like the things that I've been doing and just more adventurous and spontaneous and stuff. So, and that's allowed me to have more fun than I used to have. So I think always look at the bright side.
No, yeah. I was talking with Mickey about being like more flexible and like kind of like letting a lot of things just like experiences and learning a lot of things. But I also feel like when you're doing that, you experience like a lot of weird things. Like you have a lot of weird encounters.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking like, because like I've had like experience because like I've done like I've hung out with like I've had a lot of weird experiences, and like I've met like a lot of weird people who have just like weird personalities and like just unique people in general. Do you have like something that like you've noticed from like a lot of people that you've met, or something that like kind of like grinds you, like a pet peeve or something that like a majority of people do, or like a few people that you know do, that's like kind of like like I do not enjoy that?
I think I mean, I've always been big on like never assuming something, or like the type of person someone is, and the type of person I am, just like having a bigger personality and like kind of out there, I guess, going into situations of like meeting people I don't know, or just people who have like heard of me but have never really talked to me. I think a lot of people are really quick to judge or quick to assume and just like have an opinion that they shouldn't necessarily be allowed to have because they don't even know who you are. So I think that is one of my biggest pet peeves. Just someone who doesn't have the right to judge, but they do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nah, honestly, like don't judge a book by a cover. The most basic thing you've ever heard, but it's like so accurate. Like some people, like that you meet like may come off like super aggressive at first. Like you can't like go ahead and like be like, yo, like that kid's like crazy. or like something similar to
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Then again, there's some other people in this world. Sorry, guys, we got to take a little break. But then again, there's some other people in this world that are just like, they just have negative vibes, and like there's not much you can do about it. For me, one thing that I don't enjoy being around, or people that I don't enjoy being around, is a lot of self-centered people, or people who everything that happens, they want to point out how much it affects them. And so I want you to kind of describe, how do you handle people like that you have to hang out with, and what is like a good tip that you tell people to try and not turn into someone that does something like that?
I think like I'm not gonna lie, I do have some friends who are more selfish in their thoughts, or like just kind of hope that everything turns out the way that they want it to turn out. And I've been that way. I used to be like that a lot, and like I had like kind of a wake up call, and like I realized that not everything is going to turn out the way you want it to. And sometimes that's better, because sometimes the things that you want aren't necessarily what's best for the overall group. And so I think just handling that, like maybe nudging to them, kind of telling like, it's okay, like the plan may not be what you expected it to be, but it'll work out. And it usually does. So I think just helping people see the bright side, and like helping them understand that not everything is going to be that way in life. You know, once you graduate, once you're out into the real world, like there are going to be so many people who don't care about what you think or want.
Exactly.
And so you can't live your high school lives just thinking like everything needs to be my way, or, you know. So I think just overall keep your options open and be okay with that.
For sure. Okay. Going off of that, can you tell us something that people may not know about you that is interesting? Like, can you do something cool? Can you just a little something interesting that not many people know about you, that you kind of wish people
I mean,
noticed?
If you're watching this, I'm sure you know, but I don't have a middle name.
Oh, that's true. It's just VANESSA BATULE.
Yeah. So I don't know, I'm not a very intricate person, so there's not too much that people don't know. I don't know. Like
No, that's great. Can we talk about your dogs real quick?
Of course, yeah.
So you had 3 dogs, but one unfortunately had to go.
Yeah.
But we're down to 2. And it's Spike
and
and
Moose.
Moose.
Yeah.
And I feel like I like your dogs more than you do.
That might be true.
Can you explain to us your reasons on not enjoying your dogs?
Okay. I adore my dogs.
Yeah.
They're my life.
Yeah, of course.
But like I'm never home really, and like I'm never, you know, I'm not really a homebody, so I'm not really here too often. And when I am, they kind of like expect a lot of attention from me, and like I'm kind of just trying to chill in my room, and like I don't know, and like my bigger dog is like super hairy, so like
sheds a lot.
I don't like him on my beds, but then like I don't want to be on the floor with him. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I kind of do put off like a I don't like my dogs thing, but like I couldn't live without them.
Exactly.
And like
they're still cute.
They would keep me going.
They're still cute. All right. Yeah, let's go over our sponsors. So we're sponsored by Good Vibe Media, which does nothing for us, but we just put in the name because of monetization. And we are also sponsored by Locked and Tight, which is a clothing company. So kook. We're throwing up chakras right now. That was so cringe. I'm so sorry. But yeah, Locked and Tight, if you guys want to check them out, they're going to be linked down in the description. And yeah, it's just a clothing company founded in San Diego, founded by Noah Stone. If you guys know Noah Stone, yeah, I like to end off every single one of these podcasts with a little just something you want to tell. It doesn't have to be quote. It doesn't have to be something huge. Like, don't expect like you have to one up anybody. I just want something that is like either a code that you live by in whatever genre of your life, or just something that you heard that was like, well, like I respect that, or something like that that you want to tell the viewers, the listeners.
I think I don't want to say something too cliche.
I mean, this is the thing. Like we already had "Don't judge a book by its cover" in this. How much more worse can that get?
I think then just I don't know. Like stay true to yourself. Like be the person that you want to be. Don't worry about what people are gonna say. I mean, do what makes you happy, and don't let anyone kind of like say that you shouldn't, or so I just be the person that you want to be, and that's all.
For sure. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for hopping onto this podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. This was the first FMAL that we had on the podcast. Hopefully we have more FMALs, but we'll see what happens in the future of this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.